Hi, welcome back to another TerranScapes video. Sorry, I just want to start off just by saying I've been out of the loop a little bit over the last month or so. So I haven't had any new videos up, so you may have been wondering where I've been. But I've been in probably what could best be described as a little post-winter funk here as we're starting to crawl into spring. And the shop overall, my production has been down just a little bit. My hours have been down. And so it's been a little while before I've had anything new to show you. So getting back into the swing of things though, and catching up on all of my YouTube comments. And while they've been getting fairly numerous, I just want to say that I may not be responding to all of them as much as I had in the past, but I do read each and every one of them, and I try to answer all the questions that are posted there. So please feel free to keep questions coming, but just understand there may be a little delay before I get back to all of them. So what I want to show you today is actually something very short and quick. It's a check-in with a customer on a small order of boards that he's adding to his existing set. So I just want to make sure I've got everything right before I pack them up, as sometimes, you know, I make a mistake and I forget what color they're supposed to be, or I've omitted something. So it's always good to check in just before they go back into the box and ready for the mail. And there's been a small modification on them, just a little experiment, and I'll talk a little bit about that as well. So let's take a closer look. So the first section to take a look at are the desert boards. The customer has a set of these already. This is finished in what I call the yellow tan desert color scheme. This is based on a color that we picked out jointly. I had to go back in the email. It's been a while since I had taken a look at this set, but it was based on a color for the Reaper's High Density Master Series paint, which is desert tan. Ooh. So I used that as the foundation color to create these boards, and the customer had requested that they be plain with one that has a hill. Whoop, there's the hill in the corner, and just a very small scattering of vegetation across them. So I've just put in a few clumps here and there and kept them really quite sparse, but more could be added, so this is why it's better to check in now before they go in the box, just in case any more modifications need to be made. Now the hill in the back is a little bit it's always it's a little bit more hummocky than perhaps I might prefer. This is for 15mm gaming, but I wanted to preserve the 1-inch height at the top, and he said a small hill. So in order to try to keep the height there, you're going to get a slightly steeper angle. But you know, should the customer feel that that's a little bit too steep, you know, I could go back in, spackle, resand some of these areas and taper them out a little bit more. It would raise the footprint of the hill. But I could do that, so if the customer feels this is a little too small or a little too steep, just let me know and I can change that before it goes out. That would only take a day or two to do that modification. The last thing I just wanted to show on these is I tried something very, very minor, and it's more like, you know, again, let's go very cautiously here before I do any major changes. But I tried to put in, oh boy, they really don't show very much. I tried to put in a couple ridges in the board here, just to try to add a little variation in the surface, and it's not really showing quite as much as it might. But what I was worried about when I did it is when I was dry brushing it, would they pop out excessively and look, you know, out of place. So I decided to go very, very gradual with them and just see how it would take the paint. And you can see them slightly, but they don't really look out of place. And so actually, as a sort of safety experiment, it's fine, but I'd like to add more surface topography to the boards over time. So maybe rather than going for something as a narrow ridge, what I need to do is build it out a little bit, and then I can bring it up higher, and then when I'm painting it, it won't pick out as a quick ridge down the center. So that's something to look at down the road. And then what I did as a complementary experiment is I decided to just put in a little gouge into the board, and that was an attempt, again, just to see how that would look and how it would take paint, and especially on a desert board where there's no flocking to cover any mistakes. You know, I just wanted to be sort of cautious, but add in something with a slight variation. So really, I don't know whether it'll show in gameplay or whether it's going to be really noticeable, but it was just a quick attempt to add a small variety. So there's a couple of these on a couple of the boards, and then there's a couple of the ridges on a pair of the boards as well. So before I leave, I just wanted to show something that's not very new, but you know, just to check in again with the customer, make sure I haven't made any mistakes. The customer asked for 2 custom-sized boards. These are 22 by 17, I believe. Let me just double check that. 22 by 17. There we go. And so there are 2 of these. Customer didn't ask for any features on them. I'm assuming he's filling out a specific table size. But what I did here is I just added in 1 small clump of rocks and vegetation, just to, you know, I don't know, just to break up that big expanse. But that's the only one on the 2. But if other features, you know, were desired, you know, I could add in more clumps of vegetation or grasses or things like that, but I wasn't sure since the customer hadn't specified anything, so left them as they are. So we'll keep this short. Anyway, also just as a reminder, of course, to anybody who might be interested in working down the road, you know, that modifications to the sizes of the boards is always available. You know, they can be cut to a variety of different sizes, up to about 24 by 24, which is about the largest I can ship. And depending on the sizes, you know, there could be some price modifications, but they're usually pretty minor. Also, as a quick update, you may have been wondering where updates on my Isabella von Karstein model were coming along. And after I started in on the model, I didn't like where it was going, and I abandoned it. And I really didn't end up entering anything into the painting competition. Boo. But I probably will go back to her. I have actually a fair amount of work on her done, and I just haven't shown it because I haven't liked it, and, you know, I don't want to put out stuff I'm not proud of, I guess. So I'm going to go back and do a little more work on her, hopefully in the near future, and once I get her looking at a stage where I feel like, all right, now I can show it, I'll bring her back out for view. So that will probably return sometime in the future. Anyway, so again, back from the little break here, I have another video coming up right after this one, which I'm going to be shooting today, and that one's going to be looking at the snowboard set that has had quite a bit of work done on it, and some new work that's been suggested midstream, which I think will be a nice addition. So keep your eye on the channel for that video. That will be showing up as soon as I can get it uploaded. And thank you once again for joining me, and for all of your support and subscriptions and comments. I really do appreciate it, and I'll talk to you soon.